All right, so let's, in this section right here, I like to jump back to Buster Keaton. Because if you guys really want to get good at like pantomime and selling ideas with poses and behavior that is comical, Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton were masters at that. We're going to focus on Buster Keaton today because I could spend hours just looking at Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, but I'll try not to do that today. We're going to watch like Buster Keaton going through situations that pretty much everybody has probably gone through, but he's going to go through them in a way that most people have never experienced, okay? And that's why his stuff is so fun to watch. That's what makes his life on screen entertaining. All right, I'm going to turn off the audio and I'm going to talk over this. I know it's going to ruin it for you. You're going to have to forgive me. But the reason why I want to talk over this is because as we watch this, I'm going to pause it real quick. Inside our head, we are following along. We're thinking about the things that are happening and we understand the situations. I'm going to point out, since this is kind of a clip in the middle of a scene, what has already developed to get to this point real quick. And then I'm going to point out the things that we actually process so that you understand why it's working. Okay, so it's not just, what's the word, inactive participation or inactive viewing. I'm going to be a participating viewer where I tell you what's happening and why everything's working. So at this stage right here, Buster Keaton's character has come home with a girl that he likes, and early on in this film, he had an altercation with the guy, and he doesn't realize it. He's coming home with this girl that he likes, and the guy that he had the altercation with is that girl's father. Now, notice as the audience, we already know about the altercation. We know this character right here. We know who he is. We know that these two guys are not friends, and he wants to date this guy's daughter. So we know automatically as soon as he walks in the door, this is not going to go well. He wants to date this guy's daughter. This guy hates him. We know something bad is going to happen. So he's already set the stage. Like instantly, we already know something's about to go down. And then Buster Keaton, they gave him a diversion, the dog, so he doesn't see who this guy is as he walks in. And because his head is turned, this guy does not see who Buster Keaton's character is either. So he walks in, doesn't notice who's there. He doesn't know who just walked in. This is a callback with his hat kind of broken. That's a callback to the altercation that they had earlier. So it's like reminding you that this is the guy that had the altercation with him as well, if you didn't get it before. There's the wife, I believe. Nope, that's the wife. So that's the little girl right there that he wants to date, and that's the wife. So they're getting ready to have a dinner, and she's going to introduce her boyfriend, or what she would like to be her boyfriend. They all go and pray. She's like, we need to pray now. So he's setting up tension here. Obviously, we don't have the time to set up this amount of tension, but this is the goal, is to kind of lead people down a path of expectation of what's going to happen, or not knowing what's going to happen, but they know something's going to happen. There's entertainment value in that suspense. So then they get done praying, they're ready to eat, and then there's the moment of realization. Now when you look at this, you see how they both kind of realize that who they are and across the table. So watch Buster Keaton. He's like, he just freezes, and then there's that slow back. It's almost a defensive posture where he's like, oh crap. And you can hear it, in his head. Some of this stuff is a little bit silly and over the top. That's kind of how they did things for silent movies. And then some shots just take too long as far as pacing is concerned. But still, the idea is there. Like, he gets up, he stands up. He's going to throw his napkin down, I think. I've had it. We all know what that means. They don't have any clue what's going on. He's like, ladies, will you excuse me, please? And he's like, at this point, look at how he's crouching down. Look how he's bending down in his chair. He's ready to, get away as fast as he possibly can. He's trying to make himself as small as possible so his target, so the guy can't get to him. So these poses are really fun to watch. You know exactly what they're both thinking. This is, he's got the key, just locked him in the house, and he's thinking, why, I oughta, and he kind of rips his own key apart without even thinking about it, apparently. That's pretty important because later on, he can't get out of his own house. So he's like, I'm going to mangle you. This is the classic villain. You know, he's going towards him with the classic villain look. And at this stage, this is where it starts to become fun. So Buster Keaton does something nobody probably would have expected. Instead of like running out the door or running away to where the girls are, or even like this big giant window behind him, that's kind of a foreshadowing of, hey, here's a place where you can get out. They do that on purpose because they want what he does to completely throw you off. So like you completely did not expect it. So you've got the door, it's locked. You've got this giant window here that you think there's where he could probably get away. And what does he do? He runs right at the bad guy and jumps right off his shoulders out the window. And it's definitely a very athletic move. And that's another thing, like Buster Keaton was ridiculously athletic and super good at all of his stunts. He was like the Jackie Chan of his day. So here we have a situation where he goes into a door and he drops down. And that guy's like, oh man, he went down the elevator. I remember the first time I watched this and I remember thinking, what the heck is a phone doing in the elevator? But I didn't question it. I thought he went down the elevator. And then we noticed that no, he did not. He was in the phone booth. Of course he was in the phone booth. There's a phone in there. The elevator's right next to it. So he even got me. Like as a viewer, as an audience member, I watched that section and I completely bought into the fact that he went down the elevator. But it makes no sense because that's not how an elevator works, right? We don't see into the elevator. But he completely sold it. So the guy goes down, and then I mean, some people are smarter than me. Maybe they picked up on it faster than I did, but I didn't pick it up until he opened the door and came out. So here he is. Now he's waiting for the elevator. So here's something that doesn't happen in real life. He's waiting on the elevator. He's impatient. So he decides, I'm going to make the elevator get here quicker by pulling the dial to my floor. We all know that that doesn't make the elevator go faster. That's comedy. That makes it funny. So then he goes in there, and it also sets up a gag for later on. So this is a gag that we can kind of, this is Deadshot Dan, you know, escapes, and he's got the gun, and he's like, holy crap, I don't want to be in here. All right, so that gag is, it's funny, but it doesn't really matter to what we're talking about. So he's trying to find a way out. The guy comes up. He tries to get in the elevator, and he falls down the elevator. Back then, the doors could open with the elevator not being there, so that was actually a danger back when elevators did not have those automatic doors. So now he's got an idea. He's like, come on, follow me. You really clearly understand that he's egging the guy on. So he falls down the elevator. He actually looks up at the elevator holding his head, and then he was like, wait a second. I can use this to my advantage. And here he's like, come on, here I am, come get me. And so you start to get the idea of what he's planning on doing. Look, I'm right here, come on if you want me. So I'm going to forward through this a little bit. So now he opens the elevator door and he jumps in. Obviously the elevator's not there, and he baits him into falling down. So he's like, all right, that'll handle that. I'm going to give my girl a call. I'm going to go on our date, take care of that business. And so the elevator obviously brings him back up. So all these things that you see happening in this scenario, these aren't things that happen in everybody's life, right? Not the elevator, the way the elevator scene is panning out. It's, you know, a person upset with another person chasing him, a chase scene, that's pretty common in theater or in film. It's the way that this chase scene actually portrays itself or actually unfolds. So he tries to, you know, trick him again. He's like, I'm falling for that, and then he just goes right through his legs. So in just even the simple situation of, oh, yeah, it's an elevator, right? Remember, this is an elevator? And he's like, yeah, whatever. And so we're at this stage, as the guy's like wised up, we think, okay, Buster's in for it, but he just runs through the guy's legs. He's always like one step ahead, which makes it fun. You know, it's like what you think may happen doesn't actually happen. So then there's his girlfriend, and he's like, wait a second, hi, okay, let's go. So they show you his gun to kind of raise the stakes there. He's like, okay, see you later. And at this stage, he knows that that elevator is going back up to the 7th floor to pick up the guy that he doesn't want to catch him. So he's like, well, I'll just put a nail in there and they'll get stuck. which is obviously not the way the elevator works, but it's comical. And then he's like, well, I'm just going to shoot that elevator out of the building. Stop motion animation right there. And he's like, all right, let's go on our date. And then the rest of it is just silliness. So then right here, the ending of the show, he finally got the girl that he's been, wanting to go on a date with. And he goes by the furniture company. It says, you furnish the girl, we furnish the home. And he took it literally, like, oh, so I can go give them a girl and I can get some furniture? All right, sounds like a fair trade to me. And so he goes in like he's going to give them the girl.